Rayno Nell is the 2025 World's Strongest Man. What a week. What a week, man. I haven't been this excited for the result of a competition in a long time. We'll go through the results here in a second, but this was a very exciting competition to kind of watch. Again, thanks to Liz for her strongman radio commentary of the whole competition. This was fun. I mean, this was had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was very, very interested in this, which is one of the things that I can't say for some of the more recent competitions. I was very excited about the result of this. It's always fun when somebody new comes in. That is something that I did not anticipate myself saying at the end of this week. So in the final, we're just going to go through the top 3 or 4 in each event, just to see who did what in the final. Starting out with the knack, carry, and hoist, we had Rayno Nell in first place, Tom Stoltman in second, Mitch Hooper in third. This was a crazy result. This was a very exciting final to watch. There were guys that were standouts on some events, like, for example, Patty Haynes on the Stones and on the Hercules hold. He was phenomenal, but he didn't really place that well on some other events. In the end, it was only a half point between Tom Stoltman and Rayno Nell for the title. I was very much rooting for one of them to win. Tom would have made history by being the 4-time World's Strongest Man, and Rayno Nell, of course, being a debutant to the World's Strongest Man final and World's Strongest Man in general, would have won on his first appearance. And by winning this competition, he brought home the first ever South African World's Strongest Man title. He is phenomenal. I was not expecting him. If you guys recall in my heats predictions video, I didn't even have him making it out of the heats. I did not know enough about him, and I should have done my research. He killed it the entire final. He stayed super consistent, and that's what won him his first ever title. With this victory, he ensures an invite to the strongest man on earth. I'm guessing the Arnold, of course, and any other competition that he basically would want to do, because who doesn't want the world's strongest man at their competition? What other qualification could you possibly have for going to the Arnold or Rogue than being the world's strongest man? Some standout performances from this final were Tom's Atlas Stone run, of course. He was one of 2 men to finish the Atlas Stones, and he did it 10 seconds faster than Trey Mitchell did, which is just insane. And he made some mistakes on the stone run. So I truly believe that he could get this stone run down to under 25 seconds because he took his time on the last couple of stones just to make sure he did them right. But again, a standout performance from Tom Stoltman. Trey Mitchell in the Flintstone barbell, he tied for first with Tom Stoltman, but Trey has such insane overhead power that he makes any of his lifts look super easy every time he does them, and it's always fun to watch. And speaking of Trey Mitchell, the third standout performance of the final for me is Trey Mitchell's 500 kilo 18-inch deadlift. This was the first time that we've seen Trey in a deadlift suit, and if he figures out how to use that thing properly, everyone else is in trouble. The 505 kilo deadlift attempt record in September, if Trey Mitchell pulls up wearing a suit, then that's just over and done with. There's no sense asking anyone else to try because Trey's going to win. Eddie Williams on the Hercules hold is another standout performance. He completed this Hercules hold with a time 10 seconds longer than anyone else. Rayno Nell was in second place. And once again, Eddie is just phenomenal at grip events. He did the same thing in the Denny Stone walk last year in the heats, and so I expected nothing less from him in the final. But yeah, man, I mean, this final was just fun to watch. I was, like I said, on the edge of my seat the whole time. Everybody going into the competition had either Mitch or Tom winning the competition, and it was going to be between those two. Nobody else in anyone's conversation, including mine, really had a chance of winning the title. And I got to say, I've never been more happy to be proven wrong about a strongman competition, because it was a real joy to see somebody new taking on the mantle of being the world's strongest man. And now he introduces a third guy into the mix, including some other guys that are in contention for titles quite often. I'm very excited to see him at a competition with guys like Mitch and Tom once again, but also having Thor in the mix, Lucas Hatton in the mix, and any other guys that are up and coming American guys or European guys that can potentially hold a candle to all these top guys in these competitions. And my final thoughts on this World's Strongest Man is just that this competition was another reminder of why you should never underestimate a new guy's potential in the final. And you should never only bank on one or two guys being in the top spots just because of their previous performances. Because if you've never seen someone compete in strongman, you never know what they're capable of. So, those are basically my final thoughts on this World's Strongest Man. I'm trying to keep things a little bit more tight because I have a tendency to ramble. I'm going to do a more in-depth breakdown as time goes on. Unfortunately for me, I work a full-time job, so I can't just dedicate all my life to making strongman YouTube videos. Boo-hoo. But I would love to do a more in-depth breakdown of each event, some nice performances, some places some guys can improve, and who I see doing well in the future. So if you want to hear more from me about that, stay tuned. Go ahead and subscribe, like the video. I really appreciate it that you guys have been doing that. If you have any thoughts on this final, if you have any questions or anything like that, then feel free to leave them down below. And until next time, I'll see you. Alrighty, and that's a wrap on World's Strongest Man 2025.